Erica, I have something special on my head today, and I ordered this a week ago when you and I made a decision as to where we were going on September 13th, Friday the 13th. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we're getting on a plane and we're going to Hawaii to support the nurses at Kapi'olani Medical Center on the Good Luck Friday the 13th.
Woo! Quack, quack! We're going to be there. I'm going to be there in my tutu and all my glory.
She got a yellow tutu, y'all. I'm going to be in a t-shirt.
Look for the obnoxious nurse there, and I will be there to support y'all, along with Erica, and we are going to have lots of fun, and we're going to cause a ruckus. Is that a word?
I can't wait to meet these nurses that I've been talking to since their last strike at the beginning of the year, because these nurses are a different breed. I love them. I love them. I love them. I love them, and I can't wait to
There's over 600 of them, and I want to meet each and every one of them and take a picture. Yeah. Come find me in the obnoxious tutu, and I will have Erica right next. We can't wait to meet. We can't wait to see you guys and support you guys and be there for you. Let's do this. I'm Nurse Jessica Seitz.
And I'm Nurse Erica.
And we're Nurses Uncorked,
the podcast that takes nursing facts
with nursing comedy and makes a little cocktail out of it.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button wherever you listen to podcasts, and please rate, review, and download.
We want to give a big thank you to our newest patrons here with Nurses Uncorked. Thank you to Selena and Chris for joining the patron community and supporting Nurses Uncorked. Thank you so much. We couldn't do it without you, could we, Erica?
No. Welcome, Selena. Welcome, Chris. We appreciate your support so much.
And if you're interested in joining the patron community and doing fun stuff with us like Zooms, there's a link in the description of this podcast, and you can help support us. We greatly appreciate it. We're going to get into this week's episode. We have a guest. This is a topic that is very fascinating, and surprisingly, a lot of nurses and healthcare workers don't really know much about it. They've heard of it, but they don't really understand the details about it. So what we're going to be talking today is about the Nurses Honor Guard. And if you have no idea what that is, then you're in for a great treat, because we have, alongside myself, Nurse Jessica, and the lovely Nurse Erica, we are being joined by Julia Godby-Murray. Welcome, Julia. Before I tell a little bit about you, I want to say thank you for coming on Nurses Uncorked.
Thank you so much for having me.
So we're excited to have you, and we're excited to dive
You really didn't have a choice. I forced you to do it.
It's my favorite subject, so it's not being forced.
Let's unwind actually a bit and do our drink of the week before we get into a little bit about Julia's background and about the Nurse Honor Guard. What do you think, Erica?
Yeah, let's do it. It dawned on me today that we have never done like a classic staple in every person's drinking repertoire, a vodka cranberry.
Are you sure today, we haven't done that? We probably
I don't
have,
think so. If we have, then they'll tell us, but I don't think we have. So I've got ice in my Nurses Uncorked. I'm just going to kind of eyeball this.
Yeah, just
pour.
Some
vodka.
Just pour it. Mm-hmm.
I've got my sugar-free cranberry.
We got to offset the sugar of the vodka.
That's right.
Sugar-free cranberry. Give us a taste and tell us if you're happy.
That's good. I could put some more vodka in. That's good.
Do it.
And it's healthy.
All right. That's right. Because it's sugar-free.
I highly, highly recommend it.
There we go.
So, Julia, I'm going to talk about you a little bit for a second.
Okay.
How does that sound? And then
okay, go ahead.
We're going to get into all of this. So, Julia Godby-Murray started her career in healthcare at the ripe old age of 18 years old as a nursing assistant in long-term care. From there, she became certified as a surgical technician before moving on to nursing school. Julia retired after 41 years in surgery, and the last 12 years has served as the chief union steward for the RN bargaining unit represented by OPEIU Local 459 in Lansing, Michigan. Wow, that's a mouthful. I don't even know what the fuck that means, but we're going to figure it all out here in a minute. During Julia's time as chief steward, she's also served as the vice chair for the OPEIU International Nurses Council. She's been considered a union activist and has attended many staffing rallies in DC. I do know that because I've met Julia there several times. Along the way, and this is another thing, this is the main part we want to talk about today, she founded the Nurses Honor Guard Coalition and was able to organize over 250 groups nationwide. That is astounding. 250
Huge.
groups. And is currently helping Canada. And they're most recently talked to a nurse interested in starting a group in Puerto Rico too. Canada, Puerto Rico. This is awesome.
We're going worldwide.
Woo!
That's right.
Yeah, you busy girl. Julia, you retired, I guess, from bedside nursing in 2019. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
the timing. God was
I know.
smiling down on you.
Did you go see like a psychic or something?
It was weird. Yes. How that happened. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say that Julie and I have been friends for many years, and
That's true.
I'm so happy that you are here because you have a wealth of information and you have accomplished some great things. And every time I talk about on social media the Nurses Honor Guard, first of all, people don't know what it is and they're surprised that it even exists.
Mhm.
And then when they realize and they see a video of it, the reaction is always tears. They're just blown away by how beautiful it is. So can you tell us a little bit about what the Nurses Honor Guard is?
Well, I would love to do that because one of the problems that we have is getting out the word out about it. And I hear that all the time from nurses that say, I've been a nurse for 50 years. I've never heard of this. Like, that's my fault. So I take that very personally, and I'm on the path to make sure that every nurse does know that this is available to them, and anyone that wants to be a participant in it can do so. And anybody that needs it at any time will be able to have that service for them as well. It started in 2003 in Kansas. The Kansas State Nurses Association started the Nurses Honor Guard, and one of their nurses wrote a poem that we use on every service. And they did it only for nurses in Kansas. So they would send one nurse anywhere in the state that needed it to their funeral and perform the ceremony. Well, it kind of caught on. Other nurses looked at it and thought they would like to do it too. It eventually made its way to me through a nurse that went to a conference and saw a video or pictures of it, and she brought it to our professional practice group. When she did, I just knew this was something I wanted to participate in. So we started a group in our hospital. Then, of course, me being me, I thought, well, this isn't big enough because I think every nurse in the country needs to be able to have this. So I decided they had a nurses Take DC rally. I think it was 2016. Mm-hmm. And I was going to the rally anyway, and I thought, I'm just going to wear that uniform because it's the traditional white uniform with a cap and a cape, and I'll just see if I can generate some interest. And I was really surprised. It's so funny because some of the younger nurses would come up to me and say, was that your original uniform? Like,
I love that.
I'm not that old.
Yeah.
They were so cute. Can I get my picture with you?
Aww.
But anyway, it started out that I got interest in that. They noticed me, the people that were putting on the rally, and asked me to speak. I hadn't anything planned, but of course, I'm not going to miss a chance to talk about the Nurses Honor Guard. So I did. And then the next year when they did the rally, they put me on the agenda and I got to speak again. And from there, I started groups, little here, little there. And then once I retired, I was able to really concentrate on starting groups. And through social media, even through all of the COVID stuff, I was still doing a great job organizing groups. And we ended up in our very first National Nurses Honor Guard Coalition conference. It was last May. And I guess if I can tell you about a biggest accomplishment that I can tell you is we lined up 450 nurses in full dress uniform for a group picture. There were so many nurses there. We had to rent a boom, and he had to wait for the fog to clear. But to organize 450 nurses at the same time, dressed in the same way, I'm telling you, I feel like I've done my job. You know, that was a big accomplishment. So. And that's what the culmination was in our first conference. And now we have a regular board of directors, and it's really going going well. So for those of you that have never heard of it, what we do is we dress in the white uniform complete with cap and cape. And I want you to know at this point, we do not advocate that we go back to that uniform. We all know that it's impractical, it's unsanitary, and it's merely a symbolic. It's not. It's like police and fire and military. They don't work in those clothes that they do their ceremonies in. And just as we just
Right.
it's a nod to our rich history is what it is.
Can I interject? I think that you're saying that because of me.
No, that's not true, because I get that question once in a while. They'll say, "Oh, you're
Because
setting us back 50 years."
I always say, like, I am not a fan of the traditional uniform. To me, it's a symbol of oppression of nurses. But I recognize the beauty in it as well. And you recently wore it to Ohio. We were there. The three of us were there for the rally with Tristan Kate Smith's family, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And we'll get into the uniform. But
So I just want to say, speaking of the uniform, if we could shorten the skirt a bit, get rid of the hat, okay? I think it looks kind of like a nurse superhero, to be honest with you. The cape is like, yeah. So I just say, if we were going to use it, just need some modifications. And it could
everybody's free to change it how they want to.
It could be good to go. But I do think that it honors tradition, and it honors...
It is.
Yeah, it honors where we started.
It's our history.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the most recognizable uniform. Surely we do have scrubs. They come in every color. But this is when you see, I can tell you the reaction from people when they see you in that uniform. They're awestruck by it. So it's not like we're saying we should wear that every day. We know that's not good. So
what time frame is that uniform from, would you say? Like,
probably the late 1800s. Yeah,
that's amazing. That's really cool, actually. It's probably
cap
in a museum
it
somewhere.
Evolved. The cap evolved because it was nuns that were the first nurses, and so with their habits, and so then over the years it evolved, because obviously that wasn't a very practical way to do nursing either. So then it was supposed to be able to keep your hair back and be sanitary, and then it was just a symbol, because that thing that sticks on your head doesn't hold any hair back at all. If you can keep it on your head, good luck. But
So for those that don't know, what is Nurses? What do you do? Tell us a little bit about the ceremony, because I think some people really don't know.
When we get to a funeral home or wherever you're having a memorial service, it could be a funeral, memorial service, or graveside, and we dress it in a traditional uniform. We file in and we carry a lit lamp, which is the lamp of learning, and it's supposed to be symbolic that we're passing on our learning onto the next person. So that lamp is lit. She leads the way with that lamp, or he. And we say, we introduce ourselves, like what group we're from and who we're here to honor. And then there's a short poem called She Was There. And it's just a beautiful little poem. It's like when a calming, quiet presence was needed, she was there. And then there's a little humor in it too. And an opening to thank you, patients, families, thank you box of chocolates. She was there. So there's a little bit of humor in it too. And it's also able to be customized. So if you knew someone that traveled a lot or did a lot of charity work or something, you could even mention that in there and say he was there, she was there. So it's customizable. But it takes about 3 minutes. At the end of that, we ask any nurses that are present to stand while we do a final roll call. At that time, we call the nurse's name and we ring a chime or a bell, and we sit, and everybody's quiet. So we say their name 3 times, and we ring the chime. And after the third one and no response, then we say, we officially release you from your nursing duties. Your colleagues will take it from here. Then the person holding the lamp extinguishes the lamp. 3 times. They extinguish the lamp, and then they go down to the family and they give it to, we've already decided who ahead of time we're going to give it to. Usually it's the spouse, or if there's a family member that's a nurse, we give it to them. And we kneel down with quiet words of condolences to the family. And that person comes back up and we file out. When they bring the casket out, if there is a casket and they have a hearse there, then we line there and we actually stand as guard. And we also offer the
beautiful.
services if the family wants it too beforehand to stand guard. If you, in some places they'll have a casket and you would just flank the casket and stand there as a honor guard.
The ringing of the bell is supposed to be symbolic of like your last call light, right?
That's
Your
right.
last call bell.
Yes.
And when I learned that
Yep.
that got me. Like I don't
Yep.
get emotional very easily, but something about we're
Mhm.
releasing you from your duty. It really like it's so
That's
you
It's very
know
moving, and that's
it
what
is
beautiful.
when I saw it the first time, I felt the same way, and I just knew that I wanted to be able to honor our profession in this way. We've been so beat up lately. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah.
This is just a way to bring that dignity and respect back to our profession. So really,
Yeah.
we're doing two things because as healers, we're healing families, and that's what we do. But it heals our hearts as well. And it really, I was not expecting the feeling that I get every time, every single time I do it. It's the same feeling. And it's pride and dignity in our profession. We
Now,
worked hard for what we do. And so we're honoring those nurses that did that.
I think I know the answer to this, but for people that don't, it's not necessarily nurses that are still working in the profession. It can be somebody that's
Right.
a retired nurse or
Mhm.
somebody that maybe
Mhm.
was a nurse or still keeps their license up and is doing
Yeah.
something else. But anybody that
Yep.
served as a
Mhm.
nurse at some point can have
Yes.
this done and be honored. So I
Yes.
think that's kind of important to mention for sure. So how do I guess I want to say, first of all, how do the families respond after seeing this? And do the families approach you about doing it, or do you approach families? Can you talk a little bit
Okay.
about that?
Well, each group has a territory area that they cover, and they make appointments with the funeral directors in that area and visit them in uniform and take their flyers with them that they can show to the families because they're the ones that are going to have the funeral planning. So they're naturally the ones that are going to offer it to the family. Then
Okay.
they call us and we put out the word and see who is available to go. And then we set it up who's going to do this, who's going to carry the candle, who's going to recite the poem, that kind of thing, and then we do our thing. And the family's response is often so emotional, and you can tell that you've done the right thing. And I've had big grown men that have come up to me and say, I'm not a crier, but you made me cry. And I thought, well,
Oh,
I've done my job then. And then there was
go ahead.
one young man that came, and I mean, he was in his 30s or he had to have been older than that because he remembers his mother polishing her white shoes. So he had to have been maybe in his 50s. But he just remembered the uniform and what it meant to his mother to go to work every day. And I mean, our families are proud of us and what we do. So this really gives them a chance to honor. And it's short. You're not squirming in your seat thinking, oh my gosh, you know how sometimes at a funeral they'll let people come up and say words and then you think, are they never going to stop talking? But ours is maybe 3 to 5 minutes at the most, and it's so poignant that they're on the edge of their seats with it because it's just so meaningful.
And we'll link a YouTube video of one of the ceremonies in the description of the podcast for those that want to see it. But I imagine, I have not actually been to one in person. I would like to one day, but I imagine that it's probably the other nurses that are in attendance at the funeral that would be the most affected, that are the most emotional.
And I get that question a lot. They'll say, I could never do the reading because I wouldn't be able to hold myself together. But as nurses, we know when we're in a crisis mode and your patient is crashing, what do? You pull it together. And
True.
then afterwards, you do what let your emotions down. And if you have a few tears, that's real, that's genuine. And I've done it myself before, even times when I didn't know the nurse. But there was just, you've listened to the people talk about her and you just feel like you know them afterwards, and then you just get wrapped up in it a little bit. And then there was times when it's such a tragic thing that's a very young nurse that maybe had a car accident, or we had one that was a colleague of mine that was actually murdered. So that was really hard for us, but we were doing it because it helped heal the family so much. They were so grateful for it because their mother loved being a nurse. So there's lots of healing going on there.
Did one of the groups attend Tristan Kate Smith's
Yes.
funeral?
Yes.
You weren't there, but one of the local groups did, right?
Yep.
Are there any memorable ones? I'm sure they're all memorable, but in particular that stick out in your mind?
When I first started organizing, and I didn't have a group, I had a group started in Oklahoma but they weren't ready. They just had 1 or 2 people. They'd only just talked about it. Well, the family wanted it so bad that they contacted me and said, could you please come? Their mother was the past president of Oklahoma Nurses Association, and it really was going to be a lot of nurses there. They really wanted us there. So I grabbed a couple of my friends and we took a road trip to Oklahoma from Michigan.
Wow.
And honestly, there were a lot of nurses there. So at part of the ceremony, we give a white rose to honor them for being our colleague. And we give that and we put it either in the casket or next to the urn. But in this situation, the family purchased enough roses for every nurse in the audience to have one. And then when we called for the nurses, the placing of the rose, each one came up and placed it. And that was just, oh man, that got me for sure.
Yeah.
But every one of them is a little bit different. I've done them in funeral homes, in churches, graveside, and I've even done one in a bar before, because that was where they were having their memorial service.
Wow.
And the person wasn't religious. And that's one thing that I want everyone to know. This is not a Christian-based organization. There may be some groups that offer that if you want it, but for the National Nurses Honor Guard Coalition, we are not affiliated with any religion. We understand that there are many, many ways to worship. So that's important that everybody knows that too.
Now we're going to take a moment to hear a word from our sponsors. Erica, it's almost September, okay? Have you started your Christmas shopping yet? You got to get on the ball, girl.
Yeah, it's basically fall in my mind now. So I'm already looking ahead to Christmas. I need to get something for my nurses, the CNAs. I always get them something at the holidays, and I haven't figured out what yet. Do you have any ideas?
I do. I've got a adorable gift, and it's one that's needed. It's from stinkbombodorblocker.com.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and what I love is that it is so discreet and easy and convenient, and it blocks those nasty smells that we wish we didn't have to deal with. You just dab a little bit under your nose and it looks like chapstick. Nobody is the wiser. Nobody would know what you're doing.
And the evergreen scent is literally the smell of Christmas. It smells so good.
And I like that they've got, look, you can give your little buddy a lanyard.
I might have to do these.
Yeah. And there's all sorts of scents, not just the Christmas one. There's tons of them. Your buddy at work would appreciate this. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I think
where can they find this at, Erica?
Stinkbombodorblocker.com, and there is a 15% off, right?
Yes, Uncorked 15 for 15% off. Can I just say I'm loving that the problem of the weeks are funneling in? Like
they are.
Problem of the week.
Yeah,
I've been getting a lot lately
because we're trying to get to all of them. Don't be hesitant to email us a problem of the week because Erica can fix it all.
Or even, I cannot fix it all, but even if you have a suggestion for the Enema Award, someone that's very deserving, you can send that in as well.
Oh, I have an idea for one. All right, let's hit the problem of the week.
All right.
My podcast question is, how can we fix nursing if the entire system is broken? Hospital reimbursement became dependent on patient satisfaction, and that, to me, is the root cause. I've been a nurse for 35 years, and to me, it's incomprehensible. Our patients are sick, their family's terrified. Of course, they're not happy. We're working with them at the worst moments of their lives, and their care should be the focus. My first night in the ER, I heard my charge nurse sternly say to a very difficult patient, "Sir, I'm trying to save your ass, not kiss it. Kindly sit down." I knew I was home, she said.
Ooh, I love that.
It's always been a challenging job, however, nothing like what I see today. Where do we begin? It saddens me to see the current state of nursing. On my worst day, it never occurred to me that I could be prosecuted for an honest mistake. For Dawn DeVott's case is a sign of the times and should be a wake-up call to all. Please know I absolutely love the work you and Erica do. Fans of both. Well, before the podcast, and we'll continue to spread the love about your show. Very sweet ending there.
I agree with every single thing that they said. Yeah, in my opinion, and I think most nurses will agree, the customerization of nursing has absolutely been one of the main downfalls of the entire profession. The flip from they're not patients to clients, they're customers, and the customer is always right, and we must, provide everything and make it such a wonderful stay for them. No, that has actively harmed the nursing profession more than people realize. And so they touched on something in the beginning that is like nursing services, and so again, in my opinion, one of the most important things we can do to fix the nursing profession is to bill for nursing services. And I've talked about that before. But, nursing is not a billable service, right? Not like physicians where they bill for all of their services. They have codes for everything. Nursing is rolled into the room rate with the pillow and the water pitcher and everything else. And so that's why we're not valued. To fix the nursing profession,
I know what you're going to say.
3-4 things that we need to do. But one of them is absolutely bill for nursing services. We need CMS to develop a reimbursement model for nurses, because once we generate revenue,
they're going to like that.
All of a sudden, it's going to change. And all of a sudden, hospitals and healthcare employers will appreciate nurses like a damn miracle one day. They're just going to suddenly do it because we generate. Yeah. I mean, that would be a game changer.
What's 2, Erica? What is 2? You said you had 3. What? You said you had 3 ways
you want me to
say
fix
all
of them? Okay.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to go straight to the mass walkout. The all of us.
That would absolutely be such a power move, and we would hold all the cards. Yeah, that
because
could do
this person is right in saying, how do we fix it if the entire system is broken? Like, there's a million things to fix. Like, and she's right. So it has to be something dramatic. That's all I'm saying.
We need to get legislation passed, the federal legislation. There's I call it the Safe Staffing Act, but it's the Nurse Staffing Standards for Hospital Patient Safety and Quality of Care Act that gets reintroduced every year that would give us federally mandated nurse-to-patient ratios. That would change the landscape of nursing. We need more unions, nursing unions. We
protecting
need to bill
us from criminal prosecution. Like she was saying,
well, we need states like Kentucky to pass legislation that would outlaw the criminal prosecution of nurses. Absolutely. We need to bill for nursing services.
Call Kentucky.
Yeah, they have the playbook on how to do that.
They literally. Yeah. So that would be a huge one. So the staffing, aside from the let's all walk out till they fix shit, staffing ratios, the unions, all of it. Yeah. And nurses need to speak up and be more ballsy.
Stop being cowards and speak up. Yes, I know it comes with a potential price. Say it till I'm, blue in the face. If I can do it as a single mom, you can have courage too.
That's why everyone gets pissed at Nurse Erica all the time.
I know.
Right, Erica?
That's right.
Yeah, because they may not like what she says. But thank you for your question, and it's going to take some big cojones. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
But I agree with her. Okay, we're back with Julia Godby-Murray. What's the furthest that you've traveled to be a part of?
Probably the Oklahoma one. But let me think. Well, I have traveled to Las Vegas, but I go there a lot, and I help get that group started there personally. Normally, I do it on the phone or with text messages, emails, and that kind of thing. But sometimes I can go. And last year, I made a road trip, started in Michigan and drove all the way down through Ohio, Virginia, West Virginia, Georgia, all the way down to Florida and back up again. And I visited as many groups as I could on the way, trying to energize people, because some were still in the organizing stages and they just needed that little boost to get started. And then when we planned that very first conference, when we first started planning it, I mean, we didn't know how many people were going to come, but they would ask me, how many people do you think? And one guy that was helping me plan it, and he said, well, I think we should plan on at least 50. And I went,
You blew them out of the water.
And then the other lady that was helping me plan it, and she said, well, I would want to say probably 200 or 250. And I said, well, the venue holds 450, and that's what I want to have. So that's what we ended up with. Yeah.
And that was your first national convention, and it was a huge hit. It's going to be hard to top that one.
Yeah.
Did you receive something at that convention conference?
Well, are you talking about my congressional record, or?
Well, I know you received some kind of an award and a recognition, right?
Are you talking about from the House of Representatives or the?
Sure, let's go.
We want to hear all of them. Wait a minute. If there's multiple awards, I want to know about it.
Well, they treated me like a queen, that's for sure. So even on my name tag, they kept adding ribbons to it as it went down that I was a high overachiever. It was very tongue-in-cheek kind of a thing. But they definitely, I was presented with I get a little choked up about from the House of Representatives in Congress, the National Nurses Honor Guard, and my work has been honored there. So that was pretty cool. And I was awarded that by my Congresswoman, Alyssa Slotkin. So that was very meaningful that to be in the House of Representatives in the congressional record, that was pretty cool.
That was amazing and well deserved.
And I never did this for the recognition. I never have. I give all the credit to all my leaders and all the groups all around, because they're the ones that are carrying the mission and doing the work. So they deserve all the credit for it.
Well, as someone who has been on vacation with you and seeing that your phone never stopped, even when you told people you would be on vacation, and the emails kept coming.
Well, they started out with, sorry, I know you're on vacation.
Right. Well, I know how hard you have worked for decades on this. Yeah. I mean, this is really your baby, and you deserve the recognition.
Well, our goal now is to get the word out and have more groups forming. So now we have a state coordinator in every state. So anybody that wants to start a new group, they go through that state coordinator, and that person organizes all the groups in that state. So we aren't inadvertently starting two groups in the same area. I almost did that once. So, that's a bad thing.
How did they find that coordinator, that state coordinator? Where did they go to find this contact information?
So at the National Nurses Honor Guard Coalition Facebook page, they can go there, send a message and say, is there a group in whatever area you live in? And then that will be funneled to that state coordinator, and then they will contact the person. And I will give you guys the email links that you can post for if you want to email the president, and she will funnel you to the state coordinators.
We'll put
and
it
it's
all
working
in
out
the
really good
description.
that way. Yes.
Yeah.
And so we have North Carolina has every county covered in their state. That's pretty good. And New York is almost there. And most of the states are.
That's amazing.
Yep. Yep.
Is there a state or two that need more in particular? What are they?
I'm going to say Washington, Oregon, all of those states. And Nevada could use a little help too, because right now they only have one group. So,
Erica,
just saying,
Erica.
Yeah.
Step up, Erica.
Yes.
Oh my
so
gosh.
in Michigan, my coordinator that I appointed there, she just knew the assignment and took it with it and ran. And I suggested, let's set up a travel group. And so now what we have is a group that you can say, if one of the groups in a county only has one or two people that can go, is there anybody in the state that wants to come help? And someone will go, hey, road trip, let's go. And it's worked out really well. We've used it twice so far. And, you can travel anywhere in the state and make a little vacation out of it too. So I'm hoping that we can install that in some of the other states too. So
like fun. I'd go on the road trip.
Well, you know me, I like a road trip. That's good.
Yeah. So I know we touched on the uniform, but when we were in Ohio, the three of us together at the rally, I did not know until you were speaking about the colors of the cape, and I was really impressed.
Right.
Can you tell
that.
everyone the significance of that?
So originally the cape was used, and they were made out of wool, very heavy, and
Ugh.
very warm because the nurses were tending to soldiers in the field. So they had a high collar and they were warm, but they had a red lining in them. So they were in the field, they could flip that red lining open so that people would know that they were medical and hopefully they wouldn't shoot them. And if they needed help, they could actually flap that red cape and someone could come and help them. So that's the significance of the color of the red lining. I think
That's
I flapped
amazing.
that in Ohio,
Yeah,
didn't I?
I think
That
so.
is-
I honestly, I would have guessed that it was so that blood wouldn't show if
Yep.
they were tending. I had no
Yeah.
idea.
Well, you
That's
think they're out there in those long dresses too, and they're, in
yeah.
the mud and all that they did. But for sure, the cape has a lot of significance. So then, as it grew, each school would have their own style, and they often would have their initials of their school on there and different insignias that they could put on them. So it kind of evolved, and then it became impractical and just went by the wayside. But we're kind of bringing it back. So
I wanted to just ask a couple more things about the Nurses Honor Guard.
okay.
As far as like criteria to join, can LPNs join or CNAs? Have you ever had any male nurses participate?
We do have a lot of male nurses, and we welcome them. Of course, they're not going to wear the cap and the cape. I do have a couple that do like to wear the cape, so they do wear it.
Good for
But
them.
none have ever said they wanted to wear the cap. So they usually just wear a white uniform with white shoes, and they participate, and they're really welcome members. And for sure, LPNs, LVNs, RNs, and on up to the doctorates, whatever. If you have a nurse in your name, you're welcome for sure.
Have you
we
had
don't
any nurse
represent nurse-
practitioners?
Yes,
do it?
nurse practitioners. But we don't do nursing assistants. There are some groups that will do a ceremony for them, and you just kind of play it by ear. If they were a long-term employee and everybody has a feeling about it, you just adjust the ceremony. It's up to
Okay.
each group is autonomous. Like the National Nurses Honor Guard Coalition is not the governing body for all the groups. Each group sets up their own bylaws. If they want to become a 501c3, they can. The National is a 501c3, but for it to govern the whole country, can you imagine trying to do taxes on that one?
No.
I don't. I was not able to do that. So at this point, each group is autonomous, which works out because what works in your area might not work in my area. So that's how it looks right now. And the coalition supports, helps start groups. We're there to teach how to do videos and how to do if you want to do a 501c3, how to do fundraising, how to reach out to the funeral homes, all of that kind of thing that you need to make your group successful. And that's what we do as the support for it.
I would really encourage anyone that is not familiar with Nurses Honor Guard to at least go and check out a couple of the videos, look at the Facebook group. It's beautiful. It's very visually stunning and it's very emotional.
Yeah.
And if you know of any nurses that are so inclined, let them know about it. Just get the word out there.
And we're gonna get Nurse Erica in this uniform and photograph her, and we're gonna put it up for you guys to see. Yeah.
Can we wear pants? Can we wear white
Yes.
pants?
Absolutely. And that was a kind of a thing though. There is a couple groups that say that all the females have to wear dresses. And like I said, we don't tell them how to run their group, but I felt really bad when I went to visit a group and they had that rule, and we were at a little potluck thing and this lady was helping with it, and she said that she was a member, but she's never been able to do a ceremony. And I said, well, why not? And she
Aw.
said, well, because the rule is you have to wear a dress. And she said, I've never worn a dress in my entire life and I just don't feel comfortable, but I
Aw.
support the cause. And I like, so I encourage every group when we get started, please don't make that rule.
This week's Enema of the Week award is sponsored by our newest sponsor, Happy Bum Co. If that name right there doesn't make you smile, I don't know what else will.
Happy Bum Co. Company is a company that specializes in enemas, and they are sponsoring the Enema of the Week award. But y'all know, nurses, we don't get to go to the bathroom, we don't get to drink enough water, and we all suffer with constipation, right?
Absolutely. It's not fair, and sometimes we feel miserable after work. And the nice thing about this company is it's something you can do for yourself in the privacy of your own home. And
That's right.
you can actually have some time for yourself. I know this is kind of a sensitive subject, but it's a subject that we all deal with. I mean, we all know enemas. I mean, we give them, we share them. Why not give them to ourselves? I mean, just saying, if you need it, you need it, right?
That's right. And it was created by a mother of 3 who suffered from severe constipation. So this is just a way to relieve your constipation quickly and easily at home. You can go to happybumco.com and use code Nurses Uncorked for 15% off your first bundle.
Well, let's get into the enema of the week. Erica, I know that you know who we're giving it to. So you might as well just let me get my duck and you just dive into who we're giving it to.
It will come as no surprise to learn that this week's prestigious Enema of the Week award goes to none other than Kapi'olani Medical Center, to management and admin there who are locking out those amazing 600 plus nurses for going on a 1-day strike this coming week.
Wait, shame not just locking out, but indefinitely.
Indefinitely.
Well, that sounds so ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
For the rest of your lives, you will be locked out.
And punished.
That ain't gonna happen.
It's ridiculous.
I think that that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of, because they're trying to get them to double down and just cave in to the things that they want. And that right there makes, actually, they're not even deserving of an enema, because an enema can help with relieving you. Maybe we trick them and it's not even an enema. I just don't even know. I mean, it's not right. It's wrong. And these nurses deserve better.
That's right.
Yeah, which is why we're going to be there this Friday, September 13th.
We are.
Yeah.
Friday 13th, supporting all those nurses.
Yes. So the enema of the week, you are deserving of that. Kapi'olani. Gosh, I keep thinking I'm saying it wrong, but I think I'm doing okay.
Kapi'olani.
Kapi'olani. Like a cop out.
I think.
It's a big cop out. That's a word that Erica would use. Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like something different. But okay, with you guys.
Oh, and you know
behave.
I want to give an honorable, in air quotes, mention to Gidget at Kapi'olani Medical Center. She in particular deserves the Enema of the Week award. If
Gidget?
you know, you know.
Gidget?
Yeah, public enemy number 1.
Who names their kid Gidget?
I'm saying, right?
If your name's Gidget, by the way, and you don't work there, we apologize. We don't. It's a great name. It's a fabulous name. But I don't think there's many Gidgets out there. But yeah, this week's Enema of the Week award goes to the people that thought this would be a great idea, and it's not. So if you're able to support the nurses, come out. If you're in Honolulu or you live near Honolulu, or you can get to Honolulu, come support the nurses, or at least, hey, support their pages, support their cause, and help them get what they deserve, which is safe staffing, safe
and
ratios.
They're represented by the Hawaii Nurses Association. Julie, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, for sharing all of your wealth of experience with the Nurses Honor Guard. You truly are a great resource and a wealth of experience. So thank you very much.
You're too kind. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Where can people follow you on social media, or follow for Nurse Honor Guard, or anything you want to share?
The Facebook page is the National Nurses Honor Guard Coalition.
Okay.
And it shows pictures of what all the groups are doing, activities that they participate in. You can see all the pictures of it. And you can message the group that way if you have questions about it. Feel free to ask, because we want to grow this group so that any nurse can have this that needs it within a 50-mile radius. So we don't have to travel as far for each group, and we want to get the word out that this is available. Everybody knows about military honors. Everybody knows about what the police and fire do. Mm-hmm. So we want to not have to listen to people say, I've never heard of this. Well, we're going to get that word out, I hope.
And some examples of videos will be posted in the description of the podcast. Mm-hmm. You can find some examples of what the Nurses Honor Guard does.
Honestly, if we can get the word out about Nurses Honor Guard and also the other fears that nurses have. And one thing I just tell you this one thing about, I hear this all the time, nurses eat their young. How much I hate that saying.
I do too.
Because it has nothing to do with nurses. It has everything to do with women. I can tell you that from working in a female dominant profession,
Yep.
it's not the nurses. Because my friends that work in offices have the same retaliation and tattletaling and all of that setting up people that goes on. It's just so easy for everybody to say nurses eat their young, and I just don't think that's really true. I think it's women.
Catty. Women are catty and
Yep.
cutthroat sometimes. It's a sad.
And when we can learn that your power is in the truth, then they'll stop. I mean, once they understand that you don't have to do that to make yourself look better, just be better.
Thank you again. Honestly, thank you.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Until next time on the next Nurses Uncorked.